So, for the most part, um, good evening to all. Oh, something in my eye. I'm just trying to see something really quick here, you know, but I'll roll with it. I'll roll with it. I was trying to make something not be up here anymore. But hey, I'll just move along. Anywho, so just making sure everything's in place here. Um, as you see the title, uh, says bullying, depression, kids need to be number one. So first, let me just go ahead and just tell you guys a little bit more about myself. My name, of course, Brandy J. Singleton. I prior to COVID have been working in the San Diego City schools, in the charter school division, and sorry about that. Prior to COVID, yeah, I've been doing that for like at least 8 years, and my son also had been working in the same school as my son since he was like first grade. So now he's in the eighth grade. Uh, One of our first schools were shut down, and then we went to another school, and then I ended up working there, and then I took him out of that school. I think fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that, due to the very disturbing matters of how a lot of schools handle or don't handle things when it comes to children's safety. You know, I know I've always been. I don't think I've even really had to be taught this. It just comes with it. You just know, like no matter what, even before the learning, the number one thing is keeping the children safe. If you don't do that, then I see that to be very disturbing because parents leave their children with people, and you would hope, you know what I mean, that they're doing their very best to make sure kids are safe, right? And I know me as a parent and as an educator, I understand both sides. I understand as a parent that I don't play around when it comes to the safety of my child, and neither should anyone else. And if the person could not adhere to those very things because the lack of willingness, then you should find a whole nother job. Okay, I would recommend it. I damn near want to help you, because you don't play with the safety of people's children. You just don't. You don't. There's no room for any confusion. I'm not negotiating that, okay? But yeah, when it comes to that, you owe it to the children to make sure that they're safe. There's no way in the world a child should be having to endure half of the things they endure when they go to school, when a lot of it can be taken care of. I don't buy it for 1 second, and I won't ever buy it when one tries to play the stupid role and say that they don't really know how to handle it. Or people say, well, that's because they need training in place and yada, yada, yada. Boop. Miss me with it. You know why? That's some bull. I'm going to tell you why. because people like to cover stuff up and shine it all up with people need the proper training. You need training. I mean, that's nice and all for, the paperwork and stuff, and to make sure you covered all your dots and T's. And yes, there's a point when that would come into play, and I'm gonna let you know, okay? Because I could damn near design it myself, okay? It doesn't take training to, because if that's the case, then you shouldn't even be working anywhere with kids, okay? It doesn't take training to know that children shouldn't be hitting one another, harassing one another, threatening one another, threatening, you know what I mean? A child comes to you and says these things are happening, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, because times out of 10, these very people have kids at home. And so therefore, you know darn well you wouldn't allow it or for your child to go through those very things. So don't go somewhere else and let some other child endure it. And then to top it off, if you are an educator, then you just don't stand up there, sit there, and teach all day. There's so much more to it. I'm hoping that you actually care for this job. You care for these kids. It's no bueno if you're just a teacher just trying to get a check and you really don't care for kids, but you've got a job and you're gonna do your best to get it done. Rather not have you. I don't think every job or field can require that minimum. You either you love it, get out, because it's gonna show through your teaching. You know what I mean? You don't want to minimize. People like to when it comes to cutting corners and not giving their all. We're always docking the children. To me, that is a lousy thing to do. Very lousy. But yet we do so much for certain things that don't even have a value. But kids go so unprotected, disrespected, go under the radar. I mean, even right now, let me break something down to you fine people. Because you guys, I'm pretty sure you know what, guys, I have a question. What in the World Wide Web is going on here that I can't see? I need to find because I'm on this other device, right? And I need to be able to put this USB majiggy in here so that I can scroll this and see something. Work with me here, fine people. Work with me. We're gonna make this happen. Because this screen is a little different than the other one, and I just want to make sure that I move all this out of my way so that I can see. Because I remember I was in here one time and I didn't see the messages or anything, and I was like, "Oh, you know." Okay, I think I'm on to something. Hope you guys can still hear me. Okay. There. I think this is better. I think. Even though I'm a little terrified to touch this right now, but I want to make it go away. Yeah. That's what I wanted, to just make that one go away. But it didn't. But anyhow, getting back on the topic, of what's going on today, in this current day, when it comes to what's going on. And nobody's preparing these kids at all whatsoever. It's quite sad to me because 26, maybe even we're up in 30 now, 30% cyberbullying has went up, by 30%. Let's see, there has been a few suicides. Some of them have been our youth due to not being able to process or handle. And this, I mean, if some of us adults are having a rough time, just imagine what kids go through in youth already, and then you throw the bullying in there, and it's just pretty freaking awful. The thing is, though, how are we bypassing or letting these things happen now? Someone's always going to have a nice, cozy excuse. You know what I mean? All the time. Because everybody's got all the answers, right? No, because you have a different field of work. But what the thing is, no one's handling the youth well at all whatsoever. And we've got to like snap out of it. I understand everyone's going through their stuff. There's people with mental health, and we damn sure can't be sitting here looking towards, the people that run the country or blame anything on them, because at this point, uh, what did we expect? So we've got to go ahead and let that one go. You know what I mean? And just start taking ownership ourselves, and as people, as very resilient, smart people, that have for the most part been conditioned to not realize that we are very capable of handling things way better than they're being handled right now, without any help or guidance or what's that word I'm looking for, when you're starting something, trying when you instigating, you know what I mean, stuff like that. We don't need any of that. We don't. What do we really need them for? If anybody needs some help, yeah, it would be them. It's true, clearly, but we can do these things and fix these things ourselves. And if we just start to pay more attention, put our focus where it's important. Why the hell was there so many people running down and sacrificing their very families, their own lives? Because half of them have kids for some guy. Give me 1 second. Hey there, everybody. I just take a little, no, really. What was that? And I got to get out, go outside, get some air, because that's very important. We'll touch on that a little later, though. But let's get back and stay on track. Um, yeah, we got to focus on our children more. The things that everybody seems, or a lot of people seem to be focused in on, makes no sense to me. There should be no reason why you're throwing your whole entire life away for somebody that doesn't even know your name, and you have children at home, and you're going to just ruin all of that for who? What? These children are suffering. And then now you just want to, poof, let's open the schools back up. Them very terrible, terrible words. You want to know why I say they're terrible words? This is coming from an educator. Because I care enough about these kids to respect the fact that they have social anxieties, and you just can't. People just assume that children just go with the flow. They push them around, and okay, now in school, now you sit over here, sit over there. And to me, I find it disturbing because we sit here in one accord and say that we're trying to raise independent kids, that children or adults that function in society as good people, and the narrative. But at the same time, we don't give them the time of day a lot of, and I don't get it. How does that work out? I'm raising you to be um, independent and yada yada, and do this and get good, education, and but at the same time, we're not even allowing them to exercise those skills. And for them to be dealing with this right now, and some of them feeling like they need to end their life, tells me failing them. Because once you stop blaming everybody else and start just handling it, of course we know these folks don't care, but that should be even more of a reason to make sure that they are mentally okay. It just shows me it's kind of ironic, because it's like you sit there and it's like a repeat. When you see something happen, you could have prevented it, and then you talk about it and be like, I think that's that thing they call history or something like that. Like how we could sit there and discuss something and then go through it, and you would think that we would try something different or be aware of. But no, we're sitting right here allowing these things to happen. We know the mental health is an issue. If we know that these things are hard right now on adults, then you have to know that the children are, going through it even more, you know? And for the confused ones, that's not the same thing as when you say, oh, well, they're young. They have, this and that. That's a whole nother thing. That's versus mental. Okay? Mental. They're not developed mentally to be able to handle this at all whatsoever. They are kids. They are wanting to be amongst their friends. And then the whole isolation. And then the ones that are dealing with cyberbullying, which I'm not even understanding how, and this is during class time online and off. Parents, we're just gonna have to take the phones. And when I say this, I don't say it like in a punishment type of way. I always use my creativity when it comes to stuff like this. You don't have to make it a point or an issue to your child that I'm taking this phone because it's unhealthy right now. We need to spend time and yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? Like in a way where, because I said so, and it's just too much phone time. This is the part where you should be exercising those skills that we don't seem to let them do. You're supposed to make it to where they feel like that was their decision all along. Like they made a great choice. They chose to do something else, but without putting too much focus on it. So as a parent, because it's your job, don't take the phone. Just create other options and choices to distract them, basically, to make them want to do something else. If that's all your kid wants to do all damn day long, then I'm just gonna I'm not buying it. That's all he wants to do. Sometimes that's the case, but okay. It's your job to fix it. That's not the end all. That's just you deciding, what that's all she wants to do. I'm not going to try anymore. That's what that says. It doesn't say If that's all she wants to do, then I guess you better crack the code, okay, and tap into your creativity because I promise you, 100%, there is definitely a way that you can change that, that we can change that from a child just being on the phone all day long. And you can do it out taking it from them for that very reason. You can make it to where you just put other things around them that are interesting, introduce other things to them so that they can want to put down the phone, right? Simple things like that are things that help when it comes to the depression, the bullying, to stuff like that. Because when they're exposed to that stuff all day long and they're taking in all this information and all this, you know what I mean? What do you expect? Plus the whole distance, social, you know what I mean? The whole lack of having that, the very things that stimulated their brains literally were taken away, weren't explained really. Nobody really cared too crafted really to like break these things down for them. Such a great opportunity to actually freaking reteach your kid all over again what school systems don't and didn't and never will. At this point, one of our kids could have had for freaking vaccine already. Okay. But I'm just saying that if this time wasn't used to take your kid to the next level or to get them through some hurdles to get to know them better, then what a awful opportunity. Awful. You know? Very awful. I just don't have another word for it. It's awful. It's awful. They should have been number one the whole time. Just for that simple fact. And for the simple fact that we have a whole mental health I'm trying to find the right word for it. The mental health crisis that gets played down when it's way up here, you know? Like my arms can't even keep reaching how high up mental health is. And then you expect them to just adapt to this. Now we're just gonna push them back into school. No, like any type of therapy or anything. You see how insensitive the world is. You see how we just kind of roll with it too. It should be our number one concern during all of this mentally. Some don't even want to go back to school because they fear it because of this very thing. When I was working on one of my petitions today for bullying and harassment and cyberbullying and how it should be zero tolerance in all schools and there should be a mandatory anti-bullying program. Put that shit in the Common Core. It must be embedded into that school. And if you do not adhere to these things, then there's a consequence. Boom. Yeah. Some people will say there is. There is a policy. There's a zero tolerance. People put stuff on paper all the time. If you don't implement it, you don't do it. What good is it? What good is it? if you're not really going to do these things. It should be mandatory because it's way, way under, like, just like way at the bottom of anyone's to do or care list in our very, own government. It's not like they don't know. How can they not know? They know everything. I mean, we've had mass school shootings. If that one didn't ring a bell, then that's truly just, I don't know. And I remember it was like 2019, right? 2018, I think, like the very end, or could have been the beginning of no, it was like 2018. Nope, 2019. And I had took a break. And then as soon as I like left the vicinities, because, you have like this little eating area like up the street, like across the way from the school I work at. So I'd go off campus. Sometimes you just got to get off campus, hide on your break, because I'm like, I don't, please, no, this is my break. But yeah, as I began walking, all of a sudden I hear this terrible report. Wasn't even that far away from me in LA. It was still early in the morning, and the parents had to be called right back when they dropped their kids off, and some had to be called back to find out their child was dead. But there was a shooting. Are people really listening when somebody says this, that there has been children committing suicide? And for people that say they've been doing this, I just want to be the first one to tell you that is not in any way, shape, or form an intelligent comment. It's just like the sun comes up. It's been coming up and down for all these years. It's like, come on. That's just your refined way of saying you don't really know, and you might be trying to sound smart, or like you have no plans of doing anything, because I just wanted to really make that clear that doesn't help. You know what I mean? The only thing anyone should be thinking is, well, the solution. What do we do to save these kids? I just want to say a very ignorant comment earlier saying, oh, these new age kids are so weak. That was the comment towards a young child taking his life. You see what I'm saying? We got to do better, because we can't have people, because he used to be a child at one point, being like that. That's the type of people that shouldn't even ever have worked around kids. That's for damn sure. you know? But yeah, definitely, I remember that day. It was just like, oh my goodness. Can you just imagine? No, you can't. You wouldn't want to. Can you imagine what that child is going through? The youngest one, when I researched, was 8 years old, because when my son started experiencing it at his school before the last one, I found it to be disturbing that none of the educators or people in charge gave two shits. And me being an employee and a mother, you know how hard that was? But I tell you what, my son never had to worry about was that I wasn't going to have his back. Some parents doubt their kids. Well, I guess that's if that's the kind of kid you got. I don't know, but you got to rule everything else out first. But I'm always going to be his number one, hugest, biggest advocate when it comes to stuff like that. And for the fact that I've seen everything that was happening, and then my son is not a troublemaker. He never was deemed one. So that tells you right there that he wasn't starting anything, because he never was in trouble. But to have to deal with it and just be this really great kid that just wants to be a kid. And really can't, because you have these other troubled, and they were troubled kids that come to school and they like to mess with other kids that they think they can get away with it, because at home most likely they are at the bottom and they're being bullied or something else is going on, just pain on top of pain. But whose fault and who is the problem really now at this point? It's not those kids, because remember, they're kids. It's the adults at the schools fault when those things go unattended. I had to take them out of that school because I saw my eyes became very widened and open, really open, these last few years working at schools. And I really got to see that it was just way too often and across the board that it seemed like they were removing the whole, structure behind kids being behaved, like citizenship and stuff like that, well behaved, and slacking off in the area of, I thought there was zero tolerance when hitting, and all that stuff was going out the window. And it wasn't even about that anymore. It's about sitting in that seat to collect that money and getting those test scores. Yeah. So many went without getting the same type of energy or care for their education than others. And when the child becomes the lesser than, and then their well-being and education becomes, the bottom of the agenda, it starts to become very clear to me that this is just how the education system is. This is exactly why no one does anything, why you can clearly witness or know about or see a few mass shootings at schools, all these things, but yet there's no one that is really taking it to the top, to the president, to the governors, and saying, hey, we have to do better. A child shouldn't have to go to school every day and fight people off. That's a problem. A problem that should possibly be fired. I mean, if you can expel or suspend a whole kid, which sometimes they really don't do because they don't get paid if they don't have that seat warmed. But if you can suspend the kid, then maybe you should go on a little vacation too. You know what I mean? Very true. I've seen people go out of their way to not really help a parent when the parent comes to the school and addresses that their child is being bullied and all that stuff, and how teachers or schools will try to cover stuff up, or just really horrible ethics skills. Horrible. Like the things that we would see happen in a school versus outside would be clearly different. A person would be going to jail for that outside, but inside the school, oh, maybe you get suspended, maybe you don't. Maybe you get none of that stuff. So a child can just get assaulted right here in school, and nobody's gonna do anything. But on the whole other side, outside of this school, that's a crime. But when they step inside the school gates, their rights are different, huh? They have to take a little, you know, harassment and violence, I guess, for the bigger purpose. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I've seen very young kids in school beat up a whole other kid, and that was exactly what they planned to do, and didn't want just. I don't understand. I don't understand at all whatsoever. How come that is not like a thing that boom, take care of it, we're done here type of action? Because at this point it's a whole violence type of thing, so you really can't play around and say, well, we don't want the kids to mess up their education, we got to find other ways to fix it. Well, then first of all, fix it. And if you didn't or you haven't, see, most times people will just say that and have no intentions of. But what are you teaching them if you don't immediately give that action a consequence? There's no way, no, in any shape or form, should we be coddling that mess. Because that's how you really fix things like that, is when they happen, you give it the ultimate consequence so you can eliminate those type of behaviors. And when you don't do that, they keep doing it, and you suspend them and they go home and watch TV all day. To me, that's a poor way to, that's not even a consequence, a punishment or anything. If anything, they should be subjected to have to take some kind of a class for the time they're out, to anti-bullying class for a few days. That would be interesting. But yeah, nope, not at all. Just no one cares. No one cares to get them suited up and booted up before they go back into those school hallways. Yeah. Like I said here in this title, bullying, depression, kids need to be number one. I wouldn't want to be a kid again. Um, for people that say, well, what kind of problems do you have? You're about, look, and some people wonder why kids have these disorders sometimes, or just be like, oh, because the messages you get from all these different places that have no idea what they're talking about. None at all whatsoever. Kids have issues, they have problems. They are children. They do not have the same thinking pattern and able to deal with things the way adults do, or at least some. And then it's a whole mental health thing. So, hmm, it's got to be such a lonely place, to feel like that's what you need to do. And, I've been working on this program. I didn't completely plan on coming on here and talking about this stuff. So when I do again, I'll be more detailed with things, and I'll explain to you guys way more about the way bullying is killing kids. Just flat out. If you don't know, Google it. Look, do something. If no one should not know these things, like not know how to be able to know these things. You know what I mean? Because they're damn sure not gonna talk about it in the news. You know, I had found out like the youngest, like in that the African American or melanin tone, however you want to call it, community, the youngest was 8 years old, and it just seemed to be around there, 8, 12, and like on up. But I was watching this documentary, and then this whole charts and statistics things, and kids ages 10 all the way up, and I think they said till 24, or yeah, something like that. Yeah, carry that, so causes a lot of trauma. I mean, books go on, we can go on and on and on and on, but I didn't plan on coming in here. I just want to touch on that. um so when I do come back on here, that I make sure that I help you guys to I just want to make sure that you're clear on what I'm talking about, and if I'm going to talk about it, make sure that I'm more informative about what I'm saying. And I'm not saying I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying that I want to make sure you get all of it. The myths, the truths, because this was worldwide when I had endured this, and because it gets deep. Okay, so it's going to have to be a whole nother setting where I break it down to you, because even I was affected. I didn't like to talk about it a lot, but I had even been targeted, you know, as far as like bullying. It makes me uncomfortable. It just made me uncomfortable to say that right now. It was a very rough time because no one helped me. Everybody minimized, what we were going through every single day. It was a rough time. Every day I went to work, very rough. And then when I finally just was like, there was just like no certain people only concerned about my son not being in school anymore when I had to pull him out. And I was just like, and then someone else said to me, like, if you leave, what are you gonna do? Blah blah, this and that. It just seemed like nothing. The focus or support wasn't in the trauma or what was going on at that time. It was about, basically, to me, what I heard was just stay in it. Do what you got to do. He needs school, and you need work. I don't want my son to ever think that that's something that he would have to endure, that over his safety. Like, that's just what, you know what I mean? How we send these messages to our children, and they don't really know how to discern or make the difference between safety, self-worth, and all that stuff. Like your whole pride, dignity, and all that is less than having to make money. Because I knew these very things, but I'm only human, and I wasn't going to just keep just staying in that. I definitely took my son out of that, and that's why I have to talk to you guys more about it, because there was a whole other level when I had to put him in another school. You know, I'm pretty sure there's been some people, people talking, you got to shut them down. They don't really know what they're talking about. They'll be like, oh, you just can't move them from school to school. You just have to. Well, no one was moving him from school to school. I had to move from that school because that school did not have best interest at heart, a lot of kids, and didn't really care about what was going on. You know what I mean? Thank goodness I happened to be there, but I'm still in an employee role. And if I'm seeing that my son is not being treated fairly, And the fairly part comes from the adults, and you perpetuate and you lie and you come to you as a parent and do nothing, and it happens and things get worse. Then you know what? Yeah, I'm taking my son to another school. Yeah, I didn't like that. But I mean, if you're not going to do your job, I guess I got to take him somewhere else. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity too. I was like, well, let's let you spread your wings and try this, because I had been with him, not in the same classroom, but working at his schools since he was in kindergarten or first grade. So I was like, maybe this is a good thing, It got worse. And then I started doing my more podcasting and started meeting people all over the country, all over the world. Like I met someone in Africa. They were talking about how that month there was like 5 suicides due to bullying. All over the world, I met so many different people. And to this very day, the same narratives when it comes to bullying inside of these schools and cyberbullying. No one's doing anything about it. So I say they don't belong there. Take the kids out or remove those people, because no way should anybody be taking risks when it comes to children's safety with people. There should be no half-assing. If you don't want to be there, then beat it, because all you're doing is taking up a, um, a spot for someone that truly wants to help these kids. So yeah, I did a whole show. I think it was video. I was on Zoom. I'm pretty sure it'll be coming out soon with Coach Ray uh, and ex coworker that was at the school with me too, because her kids are still there, and she can attest to how poor the system, the whole teaching book or whatever's going on in this distance learning is freaking ridiculous. It's like it's not benefiting, and it's actually probably helping one to regress, if you know what I mean, like literally, really, like not doing anything really to benefit to get these kids moving along so they'll be ready for the next level. Yeah. So yeah, definitely felt good to be able to let her come and have her voice be heard, because it needs to be. Parents need to know what's going on in their child's school. You need to know what the Common Core is. You need to know what they're learning, and you need to just know. You for darn sure should never be the parent that says, "It ain't my job. That's a teacher job. I don't have to." That's very ignorant. Sorry, but it is, because we're the first teachers. So therefore, a parent saying that is not their job, it's always your job. It's never ever going to not be your job. Okay, the teacher's a teacher doing their job. Have you not ever in the world heard of somebody like not doing their job very well, or people not really being great people, stuff like that? So like, what would make a teacher be any different when it comes to that? Like all teachers just like Mary Poppins or something? No. And I'm not saying in general that that's what is going on in the schools or where I was working. I'm just saying that's the mentality you should have, so that you won't have to be sitting across, from a teacher or anything telling you, you know, that your child is this, and that, or possibly telling you that they're having a learning disability because you didn't care to really pay attention, or you know, find out what it was that they're supposed to be learning versus this is where we send they go to school. At school they have education, and that's that. Hmm. That happens a lot, quite often these days. Just a daycare, 6th grade, can't read. I mean, what's going on here? Which is another whole thing that will lead to bullying. These are facts. Some bullies are being bullied at home or just amongst a bunch of kids. They don't fall into any place there. They go unnoticed, have a lot of anger, or they've been through something. I saw a lot of kids that completely changed as the work got harder and they felt like they didn't weren't smart enough. You saw those behaviors coming in. One whole kid, he spent his like whole existence on being the worst to people. Like just to can't. First of all, he's little as heck, and then this overtime of just being a crappy kid to people, and it's like all that energy, and you could be doing better. I was at that time, like, because he's very, very intelligent. Like he articulates so well that it's weird to me that he can't read. If you know, if that makes sense. But he has this whole facade going on because he knows that he can't, and so that's why he does what he does, and somebody suffers at the hand of that, whoever he can find. I don't know, but I do have my campaign place, bullies and bullied no more, because we can't just focus in on the bullied. If we want change, we have to do it for the bullies and the bully. That's creating change, not just a safe place or a little anti-bullying thing set in place so that kids and youth that are being bullied, you know, can be empowered. All that, yeah, fine and dandy. But what about the bully? We need for there to be growth, and why we don't treat people, like that. And then the bully, the bullied, I don't want to say victim because that's not the case. The bullied can learn about why people in general, or kids in this instance, bully, the things that come with that. And then the bullied, no, the bullier is also learning about why they shouldn't be doing these things, but also getting to know the person that they were bullying to at the same time, and seeing the effects of what they could do to another person just by these very things. So, and scary and messed up as it sounds, you have to be honest and be like, tell them the truth and be like, a lot of times, there these very things that you're doing have led some kids to hurt themselves. You have to tell them the truth, because then if they don't, how will they ever know why they shouldn't be saying or doing these things? It can't be because you told them so. They need to know. That's how they develop. So let your children start exercising their those mental or those skills that we put, that we say we've taught to them, but never respect them enough to actually listen to their voice, how they feel about what's going on, or certain things. I mean, you learn a lot from a child. They'll definitely, definitely tell you exactly what's going on. Very blunt. But I just wanted to, send my love to the families that are dealing with or any loss or of any children that taken their life. Just know on my part here where I am. I'm trying to make it right for everybody, for our youth. They need us. They need us. They need us. Need us. And I just feel like no one really truly cares about their well-being when it comes to this world. In this world, where they fall in, fit in at. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely will be back on here maybe later tonight or tomorrow, so we can fill in those gaps, and I take you on the journey of. I don't know. I have the title tomorrow. I was like sitting here trying to think of a really cool title, but definitely we'll be back on to discuss those things, and also to bring a guest with me. So I appreciate you guys listening. If anyone was in the comments, please forgive me because I don't know why. Where's my? No, I can't see them. See if I go like this. Mm-mm. Nope, that's not working either. Okay. Well, I mean, if you did, just know, thank you so much and much love from the bottom to the top to the side to the middle of my heart. Thank you. Alrighty. I don't know. I guess when I leave this part, it'll do it itself. Okay. Well, you guys have a lovely evening. I'll probably come back in just to check out some other people's, you know, um, shows. So, yeah, that's what I'll do. Sorry, I was reading a news. Thought we were gonna have some breaking news here, people, but no. Thank you so much, and God bless. Mwah.